Minnesota. I'm Alan.
I'm Rahana.
And today we have CJ Renner and Sasha Rayl. Welcome, you guys.
Greetings. Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome to be here.
Yeah, of course. Thanks.
So, what do you guys do with film in Minnesota?
Do you want to speak first?
Whatever. Yeah. What do we do? We work as a team normally, but you can take it from there.
You covered it all.
And that's it. We'll be taking off now.
Yeah, so we've done a couple features together and some shorts, and then we just try to stay on everybody else's set get on everybody else's set as much as we can as well. And for the features that we've done, we write, direct, produce, casting, direct, that kind of stuff. Wear a lot of different hats.
Yeah, he does the writing, a lot of the producing and casting for our projects, and we do. I mean, along with other individuals. I mean, we've been kind of trying to collaborate more with writing and stories, and like, for example, with Up Top, we've been trying to kind of get a project off the ground with them and see what we can kind of come up. They're a talented group of people, so.
Yeah, I think you probably feel the same with your filmmaking, but it's like as you do more of it, you find the people that you work well with and your personality gels with, and the more you find those people, the more it's like, wow, there's really good crew and really good cast, available actors in town, and so. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I mean, it's like once you get into it, you're like, oh my God, there's so many resources here. Would be ashamed to not be making stuff, So
mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think our goal kind of is we always want to be working on something and looking for the next project, whatever that is for ourselves. And in this year, not this year now, it's 2020. The last year, we have gone into more comedy, which is different from what we've done in the past, and more of an episodic thing.
Yeah. So, like a tangent on that, like you were saying, we're always always want to be making something, and so we had this feature script that was a little bigger in than some of our other stuff, and requires a certain actor. And so that's one of those things that, like, you can't just put it on the calendar and make it happen, will it to happen. It's like you need these certain boxes to be checked or whatever. And so, but we really believe in this script and this project, and we really want to make it happen. So when that actor attached himself about a year ago now, it started to be like, okay, let's get into pre-pro on this and let's figure out how to get this made. But the actor is like on TV shows and, tough scheduling and whatever. And so it was one of those points where about a year ago where it's like, okay, all of a sudden the ball isn't in our court on this thing. Mm-hmm. And me personally, and a lot of people are like this, like all of a sudden that gets really uncomfortable. It's like, mm-hmm. You get really eager to make the thing and whatever. So while that had to be pushed to the back burner while we're waiting for agents and all that stuff that we're not super used to, we decided to do a pilot, like a comedic pilot. And I did an immersive play.
Yeah.
And we've messed around with VR stuff a little bit, which is crazy right now. Mm-hmm. Like, it's so attainable.
There's a lot of cool stuff out there.
Yeah. And then we're going to sounds like we're going to be starting a feature up in a couple months here while we're waiting for this other one. So,
Yeah, just keeping the ball rolling, I think.
Right,
yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How did you both get into film, like to start?
That's a great question. We both don't originally have film backgrounds, but I grew up kind of in theater and some like film stuff. I've been more in front of the camera, which I actually really don't like. I mean, I like it. Some of it I love, but I don't know that I'm that great at it. So
you're good at it.
Thank you.
Shush your
nice.
mouth.
And CJ comes from like you can say it, but yeah.
Yeah, I come from a writing background, English major kind of stuff or whatever.
And writing like comic books and a couple novels.
Yeah, exactly. And, there's, you get to be, in our society, you get to be mid-20s, late 20s, and it's like you've had a chance to do the thing that you thought you were supposed to do. Mm-hmm. And for some people, like, you're like, oh, I thought I should be a doctor, and I am, and it's great. For a huge percentage of people, like, go into something and you're like, you know what, this actually doesn't quite gel with me or make me happy or whatever the thing is. Mm-hmm. And so for me, it was education and teaching, and teachers are saints, and I want 100% of my tax dollars to go to education and none of it to go to roads or military. So I love, and I seize every opportunity I get to do some teaching or be on panels or that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. But just the almost the physical grind of the thing is so rough, and the way you're nodding, I think and so I'd always wanted to write, and I'm like, you know what, even if I'm going to be a teacher 10 years from now, like, I still want to I want to be that teacher who's actually done it, who's actually gone out there and written stuff. And so that was the decision to kind of switch over to stuff. And I'd always loved film, and I love working with people. And, as you know, writing is kind of sitting in a dark room sometimes. And so just the collaborative nature of film is like so fun. And and you guys know this, I'm sure, like, as soon as you start to get around those people, you're like, wow, these are cool people. And we were just talking to somebody who was in town for like Twin Cities Film Fest. She was from, I think it was New York or something. And we were saying, well, we've never, like, in all the stuff we've ever shot here, we've never had like a jerk on set. Because she was talking about how there's always like 2 jerks on set or something, And we're like, actually, no, like,
I don't,
yeah.
Maybe that Minnesota thing. Maybe
right.
there's
maybe
something to that.
Jerk, it's me, and I don't know.
Yeah, maybe I'm the jerk.
Yeah, but anyway, there's something about when you get on film sets here that it's just like you just want to be
tons of professional, super cool humans here. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Can you tell us about your first project?
Our first
that you ever did.
Why don't you take the lead on this one too? This was a short based off of I will let you take the lead after I give a little intro.
Shoot, no.
It was a short based on a play, which was Waiting for Godot, right?
Yeah, it was.
It's loosely based on that. Yeah. And well, considering we didn't know what we were doing, it was maybe ambitious. Mm-hmm. Some would say. In some ways, it wasn't. But yeah. Anyways, you can get into what the deal was.
It was these 2 cowboys waiting for like an outlaw, and the one cowboy was supposed to shoot that other one, and then the second cowboy like is kind of his, I don't know, buddy or something. But it was shot almost like the iPod commercials of the time, where it was just a complete white void, and so it was like these 2 cowboys in this just complete nothingness. It was like a 10-minute thing.
Yeah. And
I actually, I when I look back on it, I just watched it maybe 6 months ago. There are many, many things that are very regrettable in it.
We had some cool people that we worked with.
Yeah, exactly.
But
and I really
it's not good, guys.
Want to reshoot it. I would love to just take like a weekend and reshoot it, because
I know he wants to do it. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
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 That would be pretty cool. Like going back
side by
much
side
later, and then just being like, these are this is we've learned.
Yeah.
Well, side by side means that you have to show the world the original, though, right?
Right.
It could just be like an at-home viewing with like
just the 2 of us, but I'll leave because I can't watch it because it's too hard. Yeah. So totally. Just you. Yeah, so that was kind of our first thing. I don't remember how many years ago that was now. Not that long ago, maybe 6 years.
Well, and you said it was, it wasn't very long ago. Loosely based on Waiting for Godot.
Yes.
Which sounds schmancy, but it's also loosely based on, and you two probably aren't quite up for this, but there was in the arcades in, I would say, like the early 90s, there was a game that was advertised as like a holographic video game, and it was called like Time Traveler or something like that, and it was this cowboy, and they used like mirrors or whatever, and so anyway, it was a thing where it was like this cowboy in like a void, and there would be, he'd be standing there, and you'd have to push up to like jump over a tumbleweed or something. But anyway,
it was like the OG Braid. If you guys have played that, or what is the other one?
Yeah. Oh, you said we're okay to do just totally random things. Have you two ever played the video game called Braid?
No.
Never heard of it.
Okay. Are you gamers at all? A little bit?
A little
bit?
No, that means no, I think.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Do you?
That's great.
Okay.
That's great. Okay.
Well, it's like a platforming game, like a Mario or a Sonic.
Yeah, like a side-scrolling situation. But
cool.
Yeah, it's genius. And it's not like all these video games now, they take like 100 hours to finish, and you have to like have special controllers with 32 buttons and stuff. This is just like, it's just like a Mario type thing. But the story is like really touching, and the art is really good.
Art is gorgeous.
Yeah.
And then it has a couple little things that you can kind of do differently.
Yeah, it's so cool.
You
like
can
the mechanic,
rewind time.
Yeah, the thing is that you
cool.
can rewind time. So like you never die. Like if you fall down a hole, you press a button and it rewinds.
That's brilliant.
You're constantly learning, and
Yeah.
it's all kind of like a puzzle.
It's pretty genius.
Yeah, it's
So
and then
what like system is that normally for?
So it came out like maybe 10 or 15 years ago almost. And so it's like, any like Xbox Live or Switch or Steam or anything, they all have it, and it's like $10. It's genius.
That's a pretty good deal considering stuff today is like games today are like $70 or something.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It is super cool. And playing it without a walkthrough is pretty satisfying thing. Yeah.
See, now I'm going to go home and buy it and play it.
Yeah.
It's really cool. Yeah. And there's a game, a much awaited game that came out years later, which that was probably a couple of years ago now.
Looks like the old Atari type.
Yeah. So they did like kind of pixel art, but modified pixel art. And the dude who made it, now we're getting nerdy, but the dude who made it is this guy named Jonathan Blow. And he,
what a great name.
I know, he's crazy.
Hi, Jonathan.
He is like really passionate about video games not being like time wasters, or like he's really like, I guess, upset about the way that video games have gone, and that 95% of them are just there to take your money or take your time or whatever. And so he really like tries to push the envelope in terms of like making them mean something or whatever.
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting, I guess.
Super interesting. Yeah.
Speaking of, interests, how about talents?
Oh,
Talents.
we glossed right over that.
Oh, I thought we
likes to just
escaped
kinda,
that one.
Yeah, go off on his own. So you two, what is a fun, random, interesting talent that you have?
I wish I had something cool, like I could juggle like upside down on my head, but not really. CJ and I both do some visual art. Pull you into that one. That's one thing.
Yeah.
But I think people kind of know that a little bit, so we both draw and whatever. And
Sasha not just, but fairly recently got Best in Show at this sweet gallery for a drawing she did of a gentleman on a prison phone.
Oh, wow.
It was pretty touching thing, and it was in this like really ornate frame, there's a special term for it, and my buddy who taught it to me will be upset that I can't remember it, but for like an oval,
former teacher,
for a picture that is like in an oval shape, or a circular shape, not a square. Yeah, exactly. And so it's in this like filigreed kind of fancy frame.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
Thank you. But yeah, and then I sing in a band, which is
Awesome.
fun.
A new band.
Newish band. Yeah.
What genre?
I'd say it's kind of like Chromatics or Blouse, that kind of thing. So it's like kind of like an indie, shoegazy, female-led band.
New wave, synth wave.
New wave. Well, that's the dream. I'm working working my way to that. And what about you? Are you trying to think of something
quirky? I could spin
quirky?
a frisbee on my finger. How about that?
That's pretty cool.
You know, like how people spin basketballs. Frisbees are a lot easier, but
yeah. Well, you shouldn't tell them that part. Yeah. He plays Ultimate. I mean, we play. Yeah.
We do. Do you play some Ultimate?
No.
Oh, it's such a great sport.
What is
though.
that?
Ultimate frisbee.
It's like
sorry.
soccer with frisbee. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
we do that. That's not really a talent, especially not the way that I play.
Yeah, wait, is that like frisbee golf, right?
Well, so there's frisbee golf, and then there's ultimate frisbee.
What's the difference?
And frisbee golf, you kind of know. It's like, ultimate frisbee is most like soccer, or maybe a little bit like football. So you play on like a field with end zones and 7-on-7, and it's like there's a lot of running. You throw the frisbee, like you pass it like a rugby or a football kind of a thing.
Is there tackling?
It's no contact.
Accidental tackling.
Yeah.
Only.
It's supposed to be no contact, and it's actually a really, objectively speaking, it's a really interesting sport to watch because like in football, like the best play of an afternoon will be like somebody laying out for the football, like full extension, trying to dive and grab it.
Yeah.
And because like frisbees hang up there so much, like that happens every point in ultimate frisbee. So it's a really like spectator friendly sport.
That's a really good point.
Yeah, you see some pretty amazing stuff from some players.
And Minnesota now has a professional ultimate frisbee team that is pretty darn exciting to watch. The Wind Chill.
Yeah, they're really cool.
What a great name.
Yeah,
it's
totally.
perfect, right?
Yeah.
And no, it's a super fun and inclusive sport, and I think it's something that's accessible to kind of everybody, and now all ages. And like, it only was invented, I don't know, maybe.
Yeah. So, to get nerdy again, like frisbees themselves were only invented like in the 60s, which is crazy. Like you'd think like the ancient Mayans had them or something, but
they only had rocks.
Definitely
a lot less dangerous.
and
a lot more dangerous.
Then Ultimate was started at UC Berkeley in I'd say about 1976, if I remember correctly.
Riveting stuff.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty new sport.
Wow.
Yeah.
You said Berkeley. Of course it was Berkeley. Nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, excellent, guys. Have you guys applied your talents at all in your films?
Yeah.
You absolutely should.
Yeah. Well, I would love to make an ultimate frisbee film because like you've got this niche of people who like would watch it. You know what I mean? Like even if it was terrible. And the closest there is right now is Tron, where they like throw frisbees around, which I would love to make. They made 2 of them. I would I was thinking,
what's your favorite surfing movie or whatever? Point Break.
Yes.
He would love to make Point Break, but with frisbees.
Yes.
Something like that.
I went automatically to bad movies and went to the like the snowboarding movie, like Out Cold or something like that. Is that what it is? It's got Zach Galifianakis and all from like back in the day,
like X Games.
Yeah, I was like, it's like that, but with frisbee. It could be perfect.
There's a subgenre now that seems to be very popular of primates doing X game, like MVP, I believe they're called, most valuable primate. Where there's one, don't ask me why I know this. There's one where he skateboards and he becomes like a skateboarding
really
champion.
Cute. Yeah.
There's one where he dunks basketballs.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So
Wow.
maybe a frisbee, if the MVP people are listening, I could teach a monkey to throw a frisbee.
But like a forehand or a backhand?
Just backhand.
Yeah, I wouldn't think a forehand would be easy.
So you guys have made 2 features, is that right?
That's right. Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
That's incredible. Wow.
Thank you.
And you're working on a 3rd.
Yeah, and we've so we made these 2, and we have kind of scripts and treatments for a bunch more, and we're always looking to, they say like after you make one, it starts conversations, and then you kind of want to be ready for like if the next person's like, oh, we want to make a sci-fi, what do you got, and so we've done the best we can to put ourselves in a position to like always have an answer to that question.
Yeah.
Genre? Like genre always comes up, I assume?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so we have a vampire one we'd love to shoot. We have this quirky 60s sci-fi, Barbarella kind of thing.
Oh, wow.
that I would love to shoot, and then so and then there's this one in a couple months that we're hoping to shoot, kind of in a road trip drama kind of vein. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But making a feature, like really the only classification you need to meet is it's got to be, I don't know, more than what it is, 50 or 60 minutes or something like that. And a person could do that, obviously everybody says this, but with their phone in one room and whatever,
and that would be a starting point. Yeah.
You would think so.
Yeah.
I'm still in post-production.
Yeah.
And I filmed it on an iPhone.
Yeah.
It's a ton of work,
it's
for sure.
It's mainly the audio. I'll be serious.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, audio is often, and we've done it too, under served in the production, and then it can cause some nightmares.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But we've got
super valuable.
If you need an audio doctor, we know some people. So
yes, I need a few experts in their fields.
Totally. But so you've shot a feature. Yeah, and just having gone through production. I mean, you look at like the percentage of people out there who want to make a feature, and take that percent and like how many have actually written the script or whatever the thing is.
See, we kind of cheaped out there too.
Okay, and then or how many of those people have actually shot it? And it's like probably 90% of them haven't.
Yeah.
Shot the thing.
How many people are working to finish it too?
Right.
Would be, some people never finish some of their projects.
And once you finish it, it's like, you're all of a sudden you might be one of the 40 people in town who's ever finished a feature, and like you're like in rare company then, and a lot of things starting to write the next thing that you would never have known if you hadn't done this one.
Yeah, it was shot definitely more mumblecore style, outlined well in advance. So we knew what locations to get and everything, but then it was just kind of like, okay, get to point A to point B, let's figure this out.
Sometimes just getting through it is, it's more important that you did that the first time, and then, you're actually able to do something better the second time. And we certainly have learned that lesson. And
totally. And like, if writing the script out concrete for a certain scene is like the barrier that's going to make you not shoot the film, then skip it, or whatever.
Right.
And like, just make the thing. And if you're the kind of what In the Mood for Love by Wong Kar-wai, I think is the dude's name.
So good.
Yeah, it's so good. And like, I wish I could make that movie.
Me too.
But I believe the way he does it is, they get everybody together, they've got a loose idea, and they just kind of just make the thing, and they'll shoot, for a month or two, just shooting some scenes, just vibing it out, and then adjust the plot dramatically to, like things that they discover with their characters, and it's just a very like organic thing, which I'm kind of jealous of. And who's got the budget to really to do that,
Totally.
But that's a dude that you probably if you told him, hey man, you got to write exactly what the lines are going to be, and it's got to be 110 to 115 page script, like you're not going to get the best work out of them that way.
Right.
So yeah.
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 So it depends
you know,
on
with,
the person.
with phones and with the DSLR, like you don't have to pay for film,
Yeah.
you know, so you can really discover the thing in the edit. And
That's what I wanted to find out, because I did my research ahead of time about making a film with an iPhone and like Sean Baker and everything. Just learning, like, I'm in his group where it's like I would never want to do that again.
Really?
Like I know that now.
Yeah.
But it's like obviously you have to go through it to know it. So
Totally.
know what's right for you. So
Totally. And you know, you've got certainly certain limitations shooting with a phone, but you've got
a ton of opportunities too.
A ton of opportunities, and you know, while you're doing it, you're learning a ton about, you know, lighting or about sound or, you know, things that really have nothing to do with the phone.
Probably more than you want to know now.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you had to wait until you had an extra $6,000 to rent the camera for 2 weeks or whatever it is, like you never would have learned it because you'd still be waiting to find that money or whatever.
Oh, and the never-ending new camera thing spell.
Oh, yeah.
Have you guys shot with, like, in your features, what did you shoot with?
Well, I'm very, very much not a gear head.
Okay.
You know, like I'm
okay.
just like DP, choose what you want. I just essentially I want as shallow a focus as you can handle and, you know, go wild.
I saw
from
that
there.
thing you made. It looked great. Use that one.
Totally. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I can't even remember off the top of my head what Thomas used for our
So
last two.
you did gun. Was that on a DSLR or was that a?
No, it was like
cinema?
a prosumer. I can't remember, like a Black Magic maybe.
Oh, okay.
What I keep trying to think of what American Tender was on even. You know, they were both on the maybe $5,000 to $7,000 or $3,000 to $7,000 camera. You know, like
That's still good. I mean,
yeah.
The good
And
ones. I mean, I
Yeah.
think at one point we were looking at whatever the one that they shot Drive on, which I'm like, that's good enough for me. Which now would be a lower tier.
isn't that funny how
you
that
know,
works?
Yeah, 7
Yeah.
years later or whatever.
well, and we shot sort of a proof of concept thing with a friggin'
Right.
you know, $30,000 camera that somebody just kind of had,
Oh.
and it was like it didn't mean anything to me. I mean,
I mean, we love you and appreciate you
it
out
was
there.
2 inches larger in form factor, but other than that, it was like, you know, if you're not using 6K raw, you know, whatever,
Right.
it just didn't quite.
yeah, I
you
guess
know.
we weren't using it at its full power then.
Right.
You know,
yeah,
you
and
gotta
that's
find the right
exactly
project.
the thing. Like if we were shooting out in Montana, you know, in a snowstorm and, you know, whatever, like, and we were projecting it in theaters all over the country, then yeah, like let's
That's going to make a difference.
try
Yeah.
to find money to like
Right.
yeah.
Well, then you'd actually have some sort of deal set up where it's like, well, we want this, so well,
Right.
okay, then we'll need this much money and
Totally.
blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, at our level, I'd rather, I mean, around here, because there's so much corporate work, a lot of the DPs have their own cameras and, you know, whatever, it's just cheaper for them. B, like if you're using the DP's own camera, like they already know it really well, you know, even if you're paying
Right.
them a little equipment fee or whatever the thing is. And I'd rather have a DP on a camera that they're comfortable with. You know?
Yeah.
And then C, like, rather than spend, you know, even if it's $2,000 total on a budget for renting, you know, certain lens or whatever, I'd rather, at our level, spend that money on, you know, an actor or something. That's probably gonna do more for your film, or, you know, a score or yeah.
Have you guys been up to any like short films recently too, or have you just kind of been in the lane of features?
I mean, we've definitely collaborated, worked with people on short films several times, and different features that weren't our own. Yesterday,
Yeah,
we were
we're
helping
just
out.
on one this week a little bit.
We were helping out last night, 12 hours ago. We were helping out on a Z-Fest film
Yeah.
with several people in town, and that was fun.
What is it called? The Misanthrope.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
There you go. Yeah. Did
Yeah.
you know some people that were on
Jamie
that?
and
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Yes, everybody was awesome.
Yep.
We knew most of the crew already, and they're all awesome and amazing people. And yeah, so it was super fun to just be there and help out. And
and I love to PA, like just to like see how other people are doing it, and you always feel at the end like, oh my God, there's so many good people, like let's make something.
I agree. I love the process too.
Yeah.
I mean, even if I can be there to just help out, whatever,
Totally.
I'm on the same page.
Yeah.
Is there some part of like a film, whether it's something that you're making or something that if you're just going to the theater to watch a movie, that you maybe pick out and appreciate the most out of anything, whether it's like the score or maybe performances or something visually, the plot, dialogue, like what really stands out the most for you?
Well, since starting, to make our own films, that definitely changes the way you watch movies. And so that answer for me is probably different now than it was, 6 or 7 years ago, which would probably be more the performances and maybe a combination of the visuals. But we definitely pay a lot of attention to writing now. A lot. Yeah. And I mean, it's hard not to or whatever. And in a lot of ways, it's totally educational. And, in some ways it can be a distraction. I don't know. But I still, of course, appreciate gorgeous sound and visuals. And I'm really into I'm a big Jane Austen nerd. So I like costuming and I don't know. So I think that's always really fun. And I don't know.
Yeah. And I definitely have a critic's kind of mind, I'll walk out of a film and I'll be like, that's the best film I've seen in 5 years, and this and this are the things that they screwed up, or something.
Absolutely.
Which is terrible. It's a curse, but usually it comes out in the writing, it's like when I'm like, this and this were amazing,
right.
Especially when people are, I don't know why it pops into my head, but the first season of True Detective, the way that they juggle time was something I've never seen it done quite that well before, and stuff like that is always impressive to me.
Yeah, you just know how hard it is to get that right. And
yeah. But I definitely love, anything where you can see really intentional, great decisions.
Yes, totally.
Yeah.
As we do it more, as we make more films, I think my metric has become more like how difficult was this target for them to hit in terms of if it was a small budget or, for instance, stuff like the Joker or the newer Star Wars stuff. It's a really difficult. You're asking a lot of the writer, of the whole team to because you've got fans to please, and you've got, thus and such cultural, conversations to, whatever.
Yes. So what box were they given to work?
Yeah, exactly. And then how well did they do, with those limitations or those
totally.
Opportunities or whatever.
Yeah. What did you think of Joker?
I frankly loved it. I thought it was...
yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I hope it's okay to say we both loved it.
Right.
I understand the mixed reactions, I think.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
And I've seen a fair amount of the negative reviews or reactions being it portrays people with mental illness in a negative light. And, I guess my reaction is, not every film has to portray every, you can make a film about bad people or people doing bad things, that's whatever. Anyway, but in terms of, and so nobody's ever gonna agree on that, but if you just look at, performances, music, the cinematography, the set direction, all that stuff,
coloring,
the writing, whatever, I thought was all, A+ work. And so, And then
with the expectations that were already there for it, you know.
Totally. And aren't we? I mean, not to kill the straw man here, but like, weren't we all asking Hollywood to stop making the tentpole, Avengers movies and start making, more character driven films that are, 50 to 100 million instead of 400 million. And I thought that it perfectly dove right into that, it was and think about all the, when you're talking just to filmmakers or whatever, there's a lot who are like, oh, it, is a weak ripoff of Martin Scorsese or, whatever. But how many, 17-year-olds went there, their 10 friends went to see Joker because they love Batman and whatever. And they went and saw that. And then they went and saw, King of Comedy or Deer Hunter.
Right. Or they came out with a love
film,
of or hey, this a higher level of, I don't know, their bar is higher for cinema now. You know what I mean? And then it's not just the Jared Leto, Joker or whatever.
Batman versus Superman,
yes. And again, it goes back to people loved Heath Ledger as the Joker because it was so gritty and felt very real and So I think they kind of took that and yeah.
Did you guys have a favorite and least favorite
film
of 2019?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, wait, you go ahead and maybe I'll jump in.
I'm going to start with least favorite because that's my favorite thing to talk about because I'm a bad person.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So much fun.
And I've thought a lot about this. This is what I think about when I'm at home alone or whatever. And I think, the ones that are least favorites for me are ones where it's usually I think I'm really going to like it. And so there really is a lot of good things about it.
Yes.
But it was like a Lamborghini being driven by Stevie Wonder or something where it's I love the Lamborghini.
Yeah.
And I love the actors and, all this stuff. But if you have the keys to that car, please do something amazing with it, And so for
not
me,
that there's anything wrong with Stevie Wonder. That was a weird
he's blind.
choice. I know, but I mean,
he's
a musician.
I'm not saying that's wrong that he's blind, but
I know.
He's not an excellent driver.
I have really high hopes for
right?
what this movie is going to be, by the way.
Yeah.
So, great.
Yeah.
We got to draw it out for as long as possible.
So the one that comes to mind that we saw just a couple months ago is Ad Astra. Did you see that one? It's the Brad Pitt space movie. Yeah. And I love Brad Pitt.
Yep.
I love space.
Yeah.
I love, loneliness. I love, all these things.
Sweet space suits and pink and blue lighting, and it had all of the little things.
It has everything I love in it, but it was just overly
title,
telly,
whatever that means.
And
it wanted to be Interstellar, but it couldn't be Interstellar.
Yeah, and I thought Interstellar was dynamite, And,
absolutely.
And if somebody said I'm doing Interstellar but quieter and a little more 2001-y or whatever, I'd be like, that's going to be my favorite movie of the year, which is kind of what I thought about this, And a little, I was pretty disappointed in the Tarantino movie this year. Stop.
Yes!
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just had to say it.
I'm really happy that you did.
Okay.
We're
now
big,
I can sleep tonight.
Yeah. Big Tarantino fans.
Yeah, if you guys want to start a separate podcast where we talk every 2 weeks about why I didn't really like that movie.
I will be there because we spent our entire last episode and I talked about that about half the time.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah. We were talking about this yesterday, actually.
Yeah.
And thank goodness it was with someone who saw the light as well. Yeah. No, agreed.
Yeah. But again, that's one where there was, as I was saying yesterday, there was chunks of 10 or 15 minutes that I loved.
Right.
Some of my favorite, scenes of the year.
And great performances. But it was missing a lot of.
Yeah. What was your least favorite of the year?
I'm not sure now. What have we seen recently?
You're such a positive person. That's why.
No.
How about your favorite film?
I don't know what I've seen. We've watched a lot of movies in the last.
There's been a lot this year.
And then we hit like a
too.
ton at the Twin Cities Film Fest too, and so it's all a blur. What have we watched recently? I should have come here more prepared.
My favorite of the year, I think, and maybe there's a little bit of me saying this one because it hasn't been seen as much as I think it should. Yeah, a little snobbery. That's the right word. Was Honey Boy? Did you guys see that?
Oh, I want to see that.
You should definitely check it out.
Honey Boy was really good.
It's supposed to be in theaters somewhere.
Yeah, it's like it's in the dark, like between theaters.
It's like New York, and yeah.
You can't
it's on
really
hold. It's like Amazon's
exactly.
like, we're holding this until we can make even more money out of it.
Yeah, and that was one where you walk in and you're like, this could be terrible or it could be really good.
I can see
and
that.
I was crying in that movie.
It was so good. Yeah,
it was really good.
I don't want to oversell it, but
yeah.
So it's with Shia LaBeouf, right?
Yes.
Is that the one where he's playing his dad?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So,
all right.
yeah,
yes, I want to see that.
Which is totally absurd. It's kind of ridiculous.
So his dad is
Natasha Breyer, the cinematographer for Neon Demon and such.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, the cinematography was
gorgeous.
Like it was gorgeous.
She's got quite an eye.
It's kind of like subtle in a pleasant way. You know what I mean? Like,
and there were subtle little mood changes.
Was it Neon or was it Only God Forgives? I can't remember. It's one of those.
One of the
Alan's just spouting false facts over here, guys.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to make a list.
Yeah.
He's gonna have to edit this part out.
Corrections.
Yeah. Well, I mean. Refn's
I know
visuals
she shot
are
that,
my
though.
favorite.
Yeah,
favorites ever. All the way,
the last couple
Bronson,
movies have been
Fall Rising, all the way. Yeah,
yes.
all the visuals.
Well, except for Only God Forgives.
Yeah, the visuals though.
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah.
We're great.
Visuals.
Let's not the visuals.
Yeah.
We're not talking about
the film.
Again, we'll pick up on that conversation in another separate podcast.
Right.
Yeah, but so in this film, like you said, Shia LaBeouf plays his dad, who is like kind of a hanger-on, just not a super nice guy. And so like just seeing like somebody working through that relationship, like you acting as your father that didn't treat you very well. But
you also love them, and you know somewhere down they loved, deep down, of course, they loved you.
And what's amazing is like it's a
weird.
very like sympathetic portrayal. It's like he's not angry at his dad,
Right.
like he's really trying to present him in like this
Just an honest, he had problems,
really
and
good.
I understand that about him, and and I think it takes a lot of time and whatever work to understand that relationship when you have something like that in life or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so you saw that came through in the film for sure.
Fun fact, he wrote that while he was in rehab the last time, and
Yes.
that's like what got him sober and clean and good.
Yeah.
Which is amazing.
And I give him huge kudos because I'm assuming he was really the steam behind getting it made, you know, for not directing it himself. Like I wasn't aware of it's a female director. I don't remember her name.
Yes.
I wasn't aware of her work before I saw this thing, but it was just dynamite. And I think a lot of actors in that situation would want to direct it themselves.
Yeah.
And maybe he would have done a good job. I don't know, but I can't imagine he would have done
A better job than she did. Yeah, there's no way. Yeah.
I can't imagine taking that on while you're like in that mental space
Totally.
of playing that role, especially trying to do it as well as I'm sure he did. Like that would have been so much.
Yeah, and it's another one of those, small in scope, a lot of just 2 or 3 characters at a time in motels or in, rehab centers or whatever the thing is. But it tells a big story, Yeah, that was a cool one.
Yeah.
And it was Natasha Breyer on Neon Demon, by the way.
Nice.
So
you weren't spouting lies.
Right. That part was correct.
Take that back.
Yeah, that was definitely one of the ones one of our favorites. I don't know.
We just saw Jojo Rabbit again.
Yeah, I did see that at Twin Cities Film Fest.
What'd you
CJ didn't
think?
make it.
I thought that was really good.
Loved it. Yeah.
And again, that was, in terms of Oscar stuff, I really think that dude should be one of the best director thing, because that's a really hard target to hit. I mean, that
for sure,
mix of comedy and drama and war and all that stuff.
Such a touchy, rough subject. We definitely went back and watched.
We did what we do in the shadows.
What we do in the shadows after. Yeah. So we're like,
to detox.
No, we just
because that was
wanted
his
more.
earlier one, but
yeah.
I see.
Just to see if how he'd grown or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that was a good one. Like that one a lot. We liked Parasite.
Very good.
Yeah, it was definitely.
Any snubs for
different.
the like Oscars, anything like that for you guys that you obviously?
Can we talk about what The Irishman?
I've not seen that yet. I've been trying to get myself to watch it since it
not my favorite.
came out.
Well,
on
do you have a
Netflix.
year of free time?
I watched it.
Oh,
it's
you
about
did.
as long as Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Longer, I think.
Longer? It's
Yeah.
twice as long.
It's like it's longer than Endgame, actually. I think.
Yeah, it was
a little bit.
It was lengthy. It was lengthy.
I made it through. It was pretty good, I thought. But I see Sasha has maybe different ideas.
Well, we don't have to talk
didn't
about
you
that
like
right
about it?
now.
Yeah, let's.
Yeah.
Well, no, let's not. I mean,
Well, you can talk it's like there's a reason why it's in the.
I didn't love it personally, and I think
Sure.
a lot of people loved what it paid tribute to and what it meant, and having a lot of good people
Nostalgia.
come back in it. Yeah, it definitely has a nostalgic thing to it. I think there were a lot of scenes. I don't know. This is terrible. People are going to eat me
People
alive.
aren't in this room. Martin Scorsese's not here. You can say whatever you
Martin,
want.
I'm sorry. No, I don't. I don't think that it was totally riveting the whole time. There was a lot of scenes where you're like, why is this going on for so long, and why are they talking about this right now? Like scenes between
De Niro
and what's his name? See, now I'm blanking. I sound
Pesci.
like not Pesci.
Pacino?
Pacino. Like when they're in like the hotel room, for example. Remember when they went and they cut out of that scene, and then they went back to that scene, and then they cut out of it, and then they went back to it, and then they cut out of it, then they went back to it, and then they cut out of it and went back to it, and you're like, wait, what is happening right now?
Yeah.
I'm so excited to watch this movie.
Yeah.
And that's really how many times they were like having a conversation. They're like, remember when this happened? And then they showed it, and then they're like, remember when this happened? And I don't know. There's a lot of kind of weird stuff in there that was maybe a little heavy-handed. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm doing a bad job of describing this. What do you think?
Yeah, it felt very showy or very telly, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah. It wasn't for me. But
I think with maybe like an all new cast of unknowns, like Goodfellas or something. Well, they weren't entirely unknowns, but
less known.
Less knowns. It would have been maybe more interesting, I think, to watch. Because it felt they were put right back, and they did a great job, but they were put back right in, kind of what you've already seen them do. And yeah, I feel like De Niro lately has been branching out of that, and then he was right back in it. And I was like,
Yeah.
It's strange though, like Scorsese, it took him a long time because no one wanted to make it. That's the deal, and you probably understand why now. But
he asked Sasha to make it.
Yeah, they're like,
and
why
she
is
wouldn't
this
do it.
6 hours long?
But it's
How many pages is the script?
But it was just kind of like, wow, so he really did it the way you wanted to do it, but it's like 3.5 hours long.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. There was a lot of long, drawn-out scenes in there that made it less fun to watch. I don't know.
Yeah, and I not a particular fan of Scorsese movies in general, in that I feel like they're a little sprawling, not very tight, and I personally think he's kind of better when he's reined in a little bit by a studio or something. And like, for instance, like Gangs of New York or whatever, there's some really amazing stuff in that movie, and I feel like that was kind of Daniel Day-Lewis's like coming out party, Yeah. I mean, he was awesome in a few things before that, but then the last half hour just falls apart, or
there were some bad choices made with some of the characters, and it's been a while since we watched it, obviously.
And I go see just about every Scorsese movie. Like, it's not like I hate them. It's just, I think he's better at atmosphere than he is at like a tight story. I don't know. But Joe Pesci was amazing, I thought, in Irishman. I was like, whoa, that dude has gotten better and better, even now he's like 70 now.
Right. And it's like watching it, I'm thinking, like, why didn't they make this like 10 years ago?
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
That's kind of what I was thinking, too.
And I love Pacino, and I could watch Pacino go crazy anywhere, anytime. So
he had his Scarface moment, kind of yelling at the...
Totally.
Yeah. So there's that. I don't know. What else?
Did you say... So that's more your dislike pile then there?
Yeah.
Irishman,
yeah. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was only okay. I don't know. Yeah, Honey Boy. I'm on board with that. I feel like now it's been several months since we've actually seen anything. What else have we gone to? We talked about Jojo Rabbit.
It's been a long year.
Yeah, there were a lot of good ones this year.
Throw some things at me here.
Yeah.
So it's terrible. I haven't seen The Farewell, but I did listen to This American Life, the episode, which is, where that film kind of came from or whatever. And the woman who wrote it or whatever telling her story, which I thought was fascinating. So they kind of replayed it. I think the episode was several years old. And so I'm excited to see that, but way behind. The Lighthouse. Why aren't we talking about The Lighthouse? Flip this table over.
Yeah, that'd be tied for my favorite. The Lighthouse with Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe, Robert Eggers.
Yes. That was probably top.
So
a trailer for that for like the first time.
You gotta see
really?
it.
Yeah.
So good.
Oh, so good. Yeah, we love that. And did we see it twice? I can't remember. We definitely went and saw a couple of these films twice. No, we saw Joker twice.
Yeah. Lighthouse for sure. A+ for me. Yeah.
Definitely. That, I feel like that was a snub, right? That wasn't on there. That didn't get. Oh, so good. And
here's my hot controversial take. That's gonna get your podcast
we were all
taken
waiting
off
for
the
this.
internet.
Coming in hot, CJ Renner.
Did not
hold on to your hats, everybody.
Not really like A Marriage Story.
Oh,
you mean Divorce Story?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
so you guys,
it's so hard to watch. Like, I feel like they both did really well, but it's so hard to watch.
The acting was amazing. I thought.
The acting was great. Yeah.
Like it hurts, and there are certain parts where I'm like, I don't understand why.
Yeah. I felt like if you're gonna do that movie, like your character motivations have to be like perfect.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I felt like sometimes
it wasn't always clear.
Like, would she really do this in this situation, or would they have established of them? And together we've discussed. This didn't come entirely out of my brain, but like it felt like the female character in there like was kind of the villain of the story. Like, she's the one who's hired this lawyer that's like doing, and she's the one who's like compromising her morals a little bit and pushing Adam Driver's character in a way that's like not simpatico with how they were in their marriage and whatever.
I feel like the first 15 minutes were about what happened to her, and without really diving in, they spent the rest of the time, now she's fighting him in court and everything else that he was.
It just felt like it was almost
with.
like a little bit woman bashing, like maybe that's a little too far, but like it was just like it felt like here's this guy who's doing everything perfectly, and because his
they said he like cheated or whatever, but they didn't even make a big deal about that. No. And the main character's mom still loved him regardless.
Yeah.
And but still she was like, we're going to court and we're doing this whole thing. And I don't know, whatever.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
There were definitely things that could have been done differently, and it would have, I think, improved.
And again, like you said, the acting was great, and
love Adam Driver.
Yeah.
Hi, from Minnesota.
He rocks.
Yeah, he's great. Scarlett Johansson was awesome. I liked her even more in Jojo Rabbit.
Yeah, she was great in that.
She's so good
I
in
think
that.
she got a nomination for that too.
Yeah, I think she deserves it. Yeah, for
She's
sure.
got the 2 noms, which will split the vote, I think, for her.
Oh, I
So-
see.
Good
She's
point.
not going to win, I think, unfortunately. But well, whatever. However you feel about her. But I felt like this year the series were more like Netflix, Hulu series were a little stronger than movies this year.
Like which ones?
Like Castle Rock.
I didn't see that. Did you see
That I
Handmaid's
watched.
Tale.
Yes.
When
Love Handmaid's
They See
Tale,
Us,
obviously.
Did that come out this
Yeah.
year or last year? This year?
What is that?
That one I
Netflix.
didn't see.
Central Park 5.
Oh,
And I'm actually just now watching it because I couldn't get, knew I wasn't going to be able to handle it. And in the first episode, I almost stopped it like 4 times because I was crying so hard and I was so mad at my TV.
yeah.
Like, it's infuriating, but
Intense.
one
Is
episode
it?
left, but it's
Is it like a
amazingly done.
docudrama or is
It's
it
like a
straight
4-episode limited type series.
Interesting.
It's very well done. Very
Okay, we'll have to check that out.
Then
We
you
love
had-
stuff like
Then
that.
you had like Euphoria, Big Little Lies, the end of
yes,
Game of
I
Thrones.
love Big Little Lies. I know it's over though. It's done, right?
Is it?
I
No,
think
it's
so.
still gone.
Are they going to do another one? They made it kind of like it was like potentially over, but I hope so. Yes. Big Little Lies is great. CJ hasn't watched it. I've
So
started
good.
Euphoria.
I'll check it
Beautiful
out.
cinematography.
Yeah.
It makes it sound like I don't like it, but I haven't watched enough to really. But really great casting and what else have we? Yeah, we have watched a lot of. I think a lot of people are in that camp now, where you're like watching a lot more
Yeah.
stuff that's on TV, movies and series and.
I feel like it's just easier to do that, especially with how busy everybody is lately. Like, you can watch a 1-hour series, like episode, and then continue on with the story over, a month period of time.
Totally.
Versus, okay, well, we have to sit here for. Sorry, like making all this fun. I didn't know I was going to talk this long. Versus, like, okay, this is movie night. Like, pick the one movie, and we're going to sit down, and like 3.5 hours later, The Irishman's over. Like,
right.
So it's hilarious.
Yeah.
Being able to pause and or fall
Yes.
asleep and then finish The Irishman, a week and a half later.
We did have to do that one
pretty
in 2
Yes.
chunks.
choice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we did. And it's
Unbelievable.
great for all you parents out there.
Stranger Things, come on.
Stranger Things is great. We do watch that one with the kid. He likes it.
Yeah.
Kiddo.
I like series. We watch TV series fairly often. But I would say I'm pretty firmly in the camp of like movies. I don't know. I like.
Yes.
I love that format.
Yeah.
And just like it's like a little like math problem or something. It's just like it's tight and it makes sense to me.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree. But I'm sorry, these series were just grabbing
Just
me
so
this
good.
year.
Yeah. Well, I've only
There's
seen
so-
like a
yeah,
third of
there's a lot
those,
of-
so
yeah,
I have to.
HBO is kicking them out. Like obviously
Yeah.
Barry
They are.
continued, and
We loved Barry.
Love
Yeah.
Barry. Yeah.
Except for that
Watchmen.
one episode. Am I
Really
right,
liked
everyone?
Watchmen, Yeah.
wait, what?
Just kidding.
What'd you say?
That one episode with the girl who could
Barry.
like fly.
Oh, that one is great.
Which one? Barry?
Barry. Yeah, where they had it where it was kind of like defied gravity. The like karate fighting girl, the daughter.
the karate daughter. Yeah.
I was like, wait a second,
Yeah.
this doesn't quite fit into the Barry world. What's going on?
So I was watching on Amazon Prime or something. It's like, I think it's called 92nd Street or something like that. And
Okay.
it was John Mulaney was interviewing Bill Hader like at this theater in front of all these people. So it's, live
I've seen
audience.
that.
And he
talk
talks
about
about
Lexapro in that.
Yes,
Yeah,
they do.
yeah.
And he talks about that episode and how like that little girl. I haven't seen the show yet. I've only seen 2 episodes.
Oh, yeah, that's
but that
great.
little girl is the daughter of like someone else that is on the crew or something, and she's like, or he might be a stuntman or
really
something.
does
So
that
she
stuff.
really does all that stuff, and he was
crazy.
like, I was amazed, and so we wrote the episode around having her on the show.
Yeah,
And
Which
I really want to see
which is
it
pretty
'cause
cool.
it's-
But
it seems crazy.
Yeah.
it was kind of crazy.
It's a great show. It's a divisive
God.
episode for sure.
It's such a great. I mean, just the concept of the show is perfect, and you have so many little threads and directions you can go with it. And
It seems like everybody we talked to about making a film, we're like, okay, it's a little like this, and it's a little like Barry.
yeah, basically, like that's
Yeah,
the thing.
Barry,
Yeah,
yeah.
And like a few years ago, it's like okay, it's like True Detective mixed with.
Yeah.
Now it's like it's Barry mixed
Yeah.
with.
Well, then you have like Mindhunter, which is a filmmaker making series. So
Yes.
it's
Yeah, and that was tasty. I thought. Yeah,
Mindhunter was pretty
Season
good.
2 is good.
The font is so large.
Which
I
I
just like
love.
to tell everybody that.
Yeah.
In case you didn't notice, I almost can't read it. It's so big, the credits font. And every city they go to. Like, New York! Psh,
Oh, yeah.
kick in the face.
I love that. It's so bold.
It's the most bold, maximum bold.
Yeah.
Fills the
There's no
screen.
semi-bold
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
So do you guys apply any of these things that you've taken from, the things you love or the things you hate, and either added them or subtracted them from your films?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I think we definitely, we can't make There Will Be Blood because it's already been made, unfortunately, or Assassination of Jesse James. We want to. We'll try and tweak that idea as much as we can. Can't say we're going to get, Brad Pitt in a film anytime soon. But, in all seriousness, I think we definitely do try and take all of the best bits. And it's really all over the map, and we try and bring those into what we do. I don't know. And it's constantly changing too, what those things are, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, and I think as we've gotten farther down the road, like being able to say to, have those pre-pro conversations with your DP and like, oh, the Mr. Robot cinematography is what I'm after, or whatever the thing is, and then once you've figured out your look together, and you know enough of the vocabulary to like have conversations with them, but then to be able to say, okay, that's their responsibility, and so I think for me, like the bringing of stuff, like if you really like Honey Boy or whatever the thing is, like what I bring in from that is, okay, what did I like about that that's under my purview for our work, and what did I like about that that's somebody else's responsibility, and then when it is somebody else's responsibility, like really let them own that and bring their own flavor to that, and then because it's so, for me, one of my chief procrastination techniques is to start doing somebody else's job on the film instead of my own, and so like I would sit on the internet and look up still frames from David Fincher movies all day, like, and I have done that.
But you're not going to be the one, shooting
but
it.
At the end of the day, like it's counterproductive sometimes, and it's like, oh, actually, why am I doing that? Oh, it's because this scene I know has a problem writing wise, and I need to go look at that thing. And so like,
having people that like you can delegate or not delegate, but like that you trust enough to like capture that vision, which we're lucky enough to have found, a few people like
collaborators
that.
And
you can kind of like, that takes kind of the pressure off, and you can be like, I know it's going to look gorgeous, and now I can like work with the actors or focus on rewrites or whatever.
Interesting awareness that it's an avoidance of something else that you're
it's taken
that's
a long
another
time
avoidance
to get
though
to that.
is the inner looking
thinking
inside
about that. yeah, totally.
He's avoiding something else.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying, like he said that. It was just like, oh wow, that's good awareness to be like, oh, why am I looking at this when I should clearly be looking at this?
Totally. Well, and I catch myself sometimes, but sometimes I don't catch myself. Right. You know what I mean?
That's okay.
Yeah, and that's a good point too. It's like
totally.
you don't have to be so hard on yourself. That sometimes it's good to just geek out about a score for a film.
Get
even
you
though
pumped for it.
Yes, and we
like,
love doing that part. And finding the right balance of like working on that before you shoot, and then actually working, getting into the other stuff that we have to do is important.
Well, in chatting with you, it makes the idea clearer in my head that like the time where it really is problematic is like when you're in production, and now your time is, the more efficiently you use your time, the more efficiently everybody else can use their time, and so like you're kind of hosing them if you're not doing your work well and efficiently, and like, so when you're sitting at home and maybe you should be writing but you're looking at still frames or whatever, it's like, oh, I'll just stay up a couple extra hours and write after or whatever. But when you're on set, and it's like, oh, I should be working with those actors, but I'm going to procrastinate.
Yeah, and the whole thing suffers for that.
Yeah.
So
that's when it's like a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much for taking your time.
Oh my gosh.
And like coming and hanging out and chatting
yes,
with us.
thank
This
you.
was a blast.
It was
yeah.
awesome.
We'll
Yeah.
definitely have to have you guys back on because this was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yes, it was
We should
awesome.
just chat movies even without microphones. This is
Right.
I learned stuff.
Crazy
This
idea.
is great. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah.
And we should definitely have a second podcast of all the terrible
Just
movies.
get into
just complaining
dive
about
Yeah.
movies. Yeah.
into the
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you for joining us. One last question.
sure.
What do you want? Well, two last questions actually.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
One, what do you want people to remember after like working with you and seeing your projects?
Question one. Yes. I think we try and be as collaborative and I don't know. I would say, I guess I'm not doing a good job of describing this, but when we go onto set, we want to remain super positive and we want people to feel like happy and comfortable, and which of course everybody wants, but also comfortable to come to us and with input about what could make the movie better, because we by no means know everything, and so that's been kind of a big focus for us because we think it's important for people to have a say in that part of it as well. So
Yeah, and I think that's that collaborative nature. That would be a number one for me too. And I think since you stole the best one, maybe I think it's good to like unabashedly say like, hey, we're making this thing to change people's lives, like when, and it's no less than that. It's no less important than that, so when they sit down in the theater or they pull up our video on their phone or whatever the thing is, like we have a duty to like make it that good, and that's a lot of pressure, but it's also like, how lucky are we to be in a place where, we have enough education funding, whatever the thing is, to actually be making creative work. And so if you have that, like you have a responsibility to make it good.
Yeah, I think just having it's kind of your, you want to say something, and so making sure that what you're saying is visualized or whatever, or it comes through in the film. So
All right. Well, last question. I may have lied. There may be a separate one after this. All the questions. What is next for you guys?
Yes. What is the name of this upcoming?
It's unnamed.
Oh, Untitled.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yep. And it may yet change drastically, but right now it's a feature, and it's, should I just say what it's about?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Yeah,
what
why
they
not?
asked. Yeah. I'm just kidding.
So it's a feature, and it starts out with a dude who's gonna like jump off this bridge, and he's there, and it turns out there's another guy who's there to jump off the bridge, and they kind of ruin it for each other. It's like a private thing. And through discussion, the older guy like mentions something about morel mushrooms, and that people have said that they're like the best thing in the world. Those like really Epicurean mushrooms or whatever. And so they decide to like, that before they kill themselves, they have to like know, like, is this mushroom good enough to like keep us around? Is it like
around for another week or whatever?
And so it's these two guys who are kind of at the end of their rope, but they kind of help each other to go find this mushroom.
So kind of like well, and there's more to it too.
And,
Right, yeah.
And
one of them is a talking fish man. He's half man, half fish,
and he wants to jump off a bridge.
But it's played.
drown himself.
It's played very seriously.
Yeah.
You know, a little bit
Right.
like a Yormos
if that's a normal
Lagavos or whatever film or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
like I don't know, a Shape of Water or like a Frank
Like a
type of
lobster,
thing.
Frank.
Oh,
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So, well, and
cool.
it's kind of, plays with, is this something that he's hallucinating?
Right.
Is this person really there? What is this,
Yeah. I
so he
really,
plays
the
with that
idea of a
perspective.
fish that wants to drown itself, like, speaks
I
to
didn't
my soul.
actually think of
you
that.
know?
Yes, and we're all about,
Okay.
we love kind of the absurdity in real life, and life is just a mixture of absurdity and sadness kind of together, and I don't know. And so that's kind of, we like to play with that in our films too. And so that's upcoming and hopefully shooting in when? We're
March.
soon. March, yeah.
So soon.
So starting in
Yeah.
March, and then it has to shoot. So half of it would be then, and then the other half would be in mushroom season, which is like in May. And part of the fun thing is like, so these people who really hunt morel mushrooms are
It's like
very
a whole thing.
secretive, and I mean it's almost like a underground like
Yeah.
cult kind of thing. Because there's only certain places they grow, and they don't want anybody to know where they are,
Okay.
because they're valuable,
Right.
You know, and there's really no other way to get them fresh than to go out and look in the dirt and get
Yeah,
them, you
which
know?
is great in itself. I mean, there's not really much that you can't just walk into Lund's and pick up or whatever
Yeah.
nowadays.
yeah, it's like
and-
you can get everything on Amazon,
yeah,
except for these.
Yeah.
yeah.
Is that a short or feature?
it's a
That's
feature.
a feature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, last question, I swear.
No.
If anyone listening to this decides, hey, I really want to reach out and chat with them or propose something and work with them or check out some of their work, how would they do that?
Oh, that's a great question.
You can watch our last feature, which came out when? 2018? 2019?
Yeah, it was. It debuted at the Twin Cities Film Fest 2018.
Yes.
But it just popped up on Amazon maybe a month or two ago.
Nice.
So American Tender
American
is
Tender,
on
yep.
Amazon, and that's like a first date that turns into like a small time robbery, and so the two people get to know each other very quickly.
Yeah, kind of follows them
through
in
that.
real time or whatever
Yeah,
through
so
long
it
takes.
plays
and-
as if it's like one long take.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
So that's fun one. That's on Amazon, and then our first one, Gun, just Gunn. That's on like all the streaming platforms except for Amazon and Netflix. So like
yeah.
Like Hulu?
Like iTunes
and
kind of like the smaller
Tubi
rental
and-
ones. Yeah.
and Vudu and all that kind of
Okay.
stuff or whatever.
And then, if they
Yeah.
want to contact
And
us.
and I love to connect with filmmakers and read scripts of what's going on in town. So I'm always happy if people hit me up on Facebook or whatever to
Yeah,
just
you
chat
can-
movies. So,
yeah.
yeah.
Find us on Facebook. Tag us if you post this somewhere, and then they can find us from there. I don't know.
Yeah.
Absolutely.